Hi, this is going to be the beginning of ESP ground up tutorial series, and under this tutorial series you will learn how to configure a ESP device including NodeMCU and how to create some web APIs using ESP8266 along with Arduino IDE, and how to create a simple IoT web application with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So let's get started. At the beginning of this tutorial, I will show you how to install ESP8266 SDK on your Arduino IDE, because without this SDK you won't be able to program ESP devices. So what you have to do is just go to File, Preferences, and under this Settings tab you will see additional boards manager URLs. So here I have put some URL, and what you have to do is there is a link below the video description, so you have to copy it and paste it here and then press OK. So now you are ready to download ESP8266 SDK on your Arduino IDE. For that, go to Tools and then Boards Manager, and this will take some time to be initialized. After that, type ESP8266 and press enter. So here you can see the ESP SDK package and you have to install it. In this case I have already installed that, but if you haven't done that you can install it here, and after the installation process it will take some time, and after the installation process you can start programming your ESP modules with Arduino IDE. And this is the beginning of the program. So this is a really simple program that you are going to upload to your ESP device. So in this case I'm using a NodeMCU because it is one of the most popular ESP devices due to few reasons. The most important and most popular reason is it has inbuilt USB connection. That means you can connect it directly to your computer. That is the main advantage of using a NodeMCU, and it has more GPIO pins compared to other ESP devices. So in this case I'm using a NodeMCU, and at the beginning of the program you have to include this header file, and then you have to specify your Wi-Fi password and SSID. After that you have to create this server object under this package. So this is your main class, and you are going to create a server object with port number equals to 80. So this argument here, it is going to represent your port number. So you can specify any port number, but in this case I'm using the default HTTP port, that is 80. And I have two functions here, right? So one is for handling the root, and then the other one is handling the not found exception. So under the setup function you will see some serial configurations for debugging purposes, and then you are going to disconnect your Wi-Fi module from any other connections that has been established before, right? So that is what this statement is. So then you are going to begin the connection between your Wi-Fi connection and Wi-Fi module. So for that you have to use this statement with your SSID and password, and here we have some debugging lines. And after that this program is going to wait until the connection between your Wi-Fi module and the router is established properly. So after the connection is being established between your Wi-Fi connection and ESP module, you will see some texts on your serial monitor, and one of them is Wi-Fi local IP address. So this is where you get your local IP address for your ESP device. So you have to keep that, so because that is what we are going to use for sending request from your client application to your server, your ESP server. And then we have this function. So this is where you are going to establish the connection between your URL and the handle function. So this is where you are going to handle this particular URL. So in this case when you are handling a valid URL, you use server.on function, right? This is where you configure or set up valid URLs. So in this case, I'm using this URL pattern. This is a simple URL pattern, also known as the root of your server. So in this case, I'm using this ESP device. So this is where the root location of your ESP device, right? So that URL is going to be handled by this handle root function, and then anything other than this URL pattern, any URL pattern that is different from this particular URL pattern, that will be handled by this handle not found function. So we establish that connection by using on not found method. So after that, after you properly configure your connections between your URLs and the functions or the handlers, you can start your server by server.begin function. So let's go to the void loop function here, and here you see server.handle client. So this is where you start to handle your client request. So you have to put that under your void loop function, and it will keep tracking the URLs that you are sending to your server application, and then if it is a valid URL, it will be handled by your handle functions. In this case, I only have one URL, one valid URL, that is root, so that will be handled by the handle root function. All the others will be rejected with not found exceptions. I will explain you that in the next part. So here we have the handle root function. So in this case, you can see this server.send method. So this method is used to send data from your server to your client application. So in this case, we are getting 3 arguments for this function. First one is this 200, this value that is known as the status code. So in this case, we send this status code to your server. So 200 means it is a successful request, and this is the data type that I'm going to use, that is just plain text, and here we have the data. So this is what I'm going to send to my client application. And then for not found exceptions, I'm also using the same function server.send, but the status code is different. So in this case, I'm using 404. 404 is used for not found, and the data type is plain text. The data that I'm going to send to my client is 404 not found, that is just a simple plain text string. So this is the end of the program, and let's try to upload it to ESP device, and we will see whether it is going to work or not. And finally, we are ready to upload our program into ESP device. So go to tools and select your module. In my case, it is NodeMCU version 1.0, and go to tools and select the port that your ESP device is connected, and click on the upload button. So this will take some time. Until that, we will wait. So now the program has been uploaded, and go to serial monitor. Okay, so the device is trying to connect, as you see here. Okay, the connection established, that means it is working. The ESP device is communicating with our Wi-Fi router. So I have this IP address, so I'm going to use this IP address to send requests to my server. Let's do that. So I'm going to close this, and I will open a new tab. Right, so I'm going to type the IP address 192.168.2. This is my IP address. So what is the URL pattern that we are going to send? That is this slash only, because this is what we have set in the program, right? So this is the only valid URL. So we are going to put it here and send the request. Okay, so we have here hello world. That means our program is working. So let's try to understand this properly. So I'm going to refresh this browser. So this is the inspect section. So here we can inspect our request. So let's try to understand it. So here we have this request. So this is the request that I sent to the server, and here I have the status code. It is 200. That means it is a valid request. So my server has sent me, okay, it is a valid request. So that's why we have 200 here. And what is the response? So response is this one. You can even see it on the web page, right? So what happens if I send a different URL like user? So this has not been initialized in the program, so that means this is not a valid URL. That means definitely it should be rejected by the server. Let's see it is working or not. Okay, it is working properly. 404 not found. So here we have the our request, and the header is here. We have the request URL, and then we have status code 404, and the response is this one. This is exactly what we have set in the program. That means the program is working, and that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, if you get something, if you learned something from this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you are interested in my channel, please subscribe me. Thank you very much for watching this video.